And we're going to go ahead and get started. If you do have props, have your blocks toward the top of your mat. Just keep them handy in case we need them. And let's come into child's pose. Ooh, let's see, it looks like we've got Maggie logging on. We'll give her a sec. All right, so coming into your child's pose, you can, depending upon how open the hips are feeling today, you can take your legs a little bit wider. That's going to stretch out the hips a little more. If you're feeling a little tight because of the chilly weather, maybe bring your legs a little closer. You might even lay down either on some blankets, or you could take a blanket across your thighs. Maybe rest your forehead on a block. So find just a nice, easy place to be here in this child's pose, starting out. Take some nice deep inhales. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, ha. Do that a couple more times, just let the day go, the week so far go. Not to be confused with Fargo. It's my winter joke. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, so you're eventually starting to find the rhythm of your Jai breath. So that nice deep inhale through your nose. You're creating that soft rush of air in the back of your throat. That full complete exhale through your nose. Also creating that soft rush of air. Really allow this sound to help you focus the mind, quiet the mind, so it draws you inward. So all of this stuff happening around you, all the distractions, they just drift into the background. Try to let go of some of the chatter happening in the head as well. That's probably a little trickier to do. Another moment or two here. So just soaking up these initial quiet moments. As you inhale, rock up to your tabletop, and then just right away start to move into some cat-cow. So you can just check to see that shoulders land over wrists, fingers gently spreading, knees under your hips. Then as you inhale, you find that arch. Feel this sense of back bend cobra pose in your upper body. As you exhale, press the mat away. Let the back of your neck lengthen so you're getting that rounding in your thoracic. Inhale, arch into the lumbar. Exhale, round in. If your eyes aren't closed, maybe play with that. If it feels better to keep them open, just keep your gaze nice and soft. So you're not really focusing on anything in particular. Again, you're really listening to that sound of your Ujjayi breath. And just starting to enjoy this feeling of connecting the movement with the breath. Enjoying this movement that's happening in your spine. Few more rounds. And again, really just check in with the back of your neck here. Let it lengthen. And then on your next inhale, come back to a neutral spine. You're neither arching nor rounding. Let's walk our hands forward and into two. Keep the belly pulling in and up. Shift shoulders over your wrists. As we exhale, we're going to bend the elbows an inch, maybe two, No more than half. Keep them squeezing in. Keep the shoulder heads lifted. Inhale, press up. So a little mini chaturanga. Exhale, lower. Inhale, up. Keep pulling the belly in. So feel those muscles on the side of your body working. Exhale, lower. Inhale, press up. And then exhale, lower, halfway, pause. Take another deep inhale. Exhale, land in one piece on your belly. So lengthening back through all 10 toes, pressing into your toenails. Fingertips are just underneath your shoulder heads. They should be there already. As you inhale, keep anchoring into your feet. Chest extends forward and up, low cobra. Ooh. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, up. Exhale, lower. Good. Inhaling up. Exhale, lower. From here, inhale up. Press to your tabletop. Curl your toes under. Downward facing dog. Right away today, let's find a place of stillness. So feet about hips distance apart. Nice little bend in the knees for this first one is going to feel really good. It's going to take a little work out of the hamstrings and the lower back, especially if you're tight in those places. And then peek forward between your hands. Just check to see that your arms are about shoulders distance apart. Good. And then just a few breaths here. So just listening to that sound of your breath. Check in with your neck again. Make sure that it is lengthening and releasing. And then find a little bend in your knees. Come up to your tippy toes. Gaze forward, nice and slow. Start to walk your feet forward to meet your hands. Couple standing cobras here. As you inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Fingertips could be on the floor or hands on shins or thighs, especially if you're tighter. That's a great variation. Exhale, fold in. Back of the neck lengthens. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. This is like a standing cobra pose. Exhale, fold in. Notice if all of the weight is really heavy in your heels. Shift forward a little bit in your feet. Inhale, lengthen. Good. Exhale, fold. As you do that, make sure you don't start to grip your toes. This time, inhale, press into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. So we're going to move a little bit. We're going to kind of do a lot of flow with some heated poses, and I'll give variations, but stick with it. Take breaks if you need to. So feet, hips distance apart. Have your blocks at the top of the mat. You may or may not need them. Okay, so here we go with our feet, hips distance apart, lower belly pulling in and up. As we inhale, knees bend, arms reach up, Utkatasana chair pose. Good. As you exhale, bring your wrists perpendicular to your shoulders. You keep that bend in your knees. Nice and slow. As you inhale, press legs to straight. Exhale, sink back in. So it's like a little squat chair pose. Inhale up. Good. Exhale, lower. Nice work. Inhale, pressing legs to straight. Exhale, lower. One more. Inhale, nice and slow, pressing legs to straight. Exhale, sit down into that chair. Stay here as you inhale, arms reach up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Bend your knees, plant your palms, right foot way back, then left foot. So here we are in our plank pose, shoulders over your wrists. Reach back vigorously through your heels as you stretch forward through your sternum, gaze an inch or two in front of your fingertips. Couple more breaths here. You can lower down to your knees if you need to. Feel the forearms squeezing towards each other. Feel the backs of your shoulder blades squeezing towards each other on your back. And then we shift forward on our toes. Exhale, elbows bend to halfway. Hover. You might be on your knees. Come onto your belly. Inhale, low cobra. Couple of breaths here. If you are ready to pull up into your upward facing dog, drag your hands back, wrists under elbows. Next, inhale, press into the tops of your feet, press into your hands. This doesn't feel good yet. Just give it a little more time. So come back down into your low cobra. From up dog, you can roll over your toes to your downward dog. From your low cobra, press to your tabletop. Pull back, downward dog. From here, nice and slow, we start to walk our hands back. to meet our feet. Inhale, chest extends forward. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, press into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. So we're just going to do some lunges with our right leg. So a couple of options here. You can have your arms releasing by your side. That's probably a little more challenging. You also might take both hands to the top of that right thigh. So let's take another deep inhale here. As you exhale, step that right foot forward. Inhale, come back. So nice and slow. Trying to do this with control is actually really hard. Inhale back. Exhale, sink in. It's fine if your left knee doesn't touch the mat. Just go to that point where you can. Couple more. Exhale, come on in. And then step back. One more. Exhale here. And then you might need to slide that back foot back a little bit. You can keep a little bend in that left knee. As you inhale, arms reach up. Crescent pose. Good. And then let's, a few times here, as you inhale, straighten both legs, left hip forward, right hip back. As you exhale, bend both knees. Good. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Good. Inhale, press legs to straight. One more. Exhale, bend in. And then again, maybe start to straighten that back leg any amount. Try to keep the deep bend in your right knee. Beautiful work. As you exhale, hands plant on either side of that front foot. Let's go ahead and lower onto our left knee here. So start to sink in, and this might be where you want to have blocks for your hands. So exhale, melt that left hip down towards the floor. As you inhale, you pull back into your half splits. Exhale, forward. Good. Inhale, coming back. Exhale, sinking in. Inhale, stretch back. One more. Exhale, shifting forward here. Inhaling, pulling back. And then exhale, come up into your low crescent. Beautiful work. As you exhale, hands come down to the mat. Curl those left toes under. Let's find a little twist here. So root down into that left hand. It might be on a block. Start to open up your right arm. And then feel these lowermost left ribs rolling to the right. Keep pressing to the inner edge of your right foot. And then really press back through that left heel. So feel the top of that left thigh firm up towards the ceiling. Deep inhale. As you exhale, hands unwind. Keep gaze forward. Keep hips as low as you step to your plank pose. Take an inhale. As you exhale, shift forward on your toes. Maybe come to knees. Lower halfway, hover, or all the way down. Inhale, low cobra. As you exhale, pull back to your downward facing dog. And then nice and slow, start to walk your hands back to meet your feet. Maybe peel off some layers here, turn off the heaters. As you inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press down to rise up. So left side this time. So nice and controlled. It doesn't have to be deep. As you exhale, step that left foot forward. Good. Inhale back. Really trying to do this with control. So feel those outer hips squeeze in towards each other. Few more. Exhale in. And engage your belly here too. So you feel the lower belly pulling in and up. One more. So exhale, step in. And then slide that right foot back. Maybe walk the left foot off to the left. So finding our crescent pose. Inhale, reach up. Good. As you exhale, find a little bend in the knees. And then inhale, both legs straighten. Exhale, sink in. Good. Inhale, press to straight. Nice work. Exhale, sink in. Good, couple more. Inhale, press legs to straight. Feel the outer hip squeeze a lot. Exhale, fold in here, and then straighten that back leg so you find your crescent pose. As you exhale, hands come down to the mat. Lower onto your right knee. Give yourself a little space so you can start to really melt this right hip down. And then as we inhale, hips land over that right knee, left leg straightens, getting into that hamstring. Exhale, rocking forward here. Good, inhale, shift back. Exhale, melt in. Inhale, come on back, one more. Exhale, getting into that hip flexor, quadricep stretch. Inhale, finding the stretch in that left hamstring. And then exhale, shift forward. Inhale, rise, arms up overhead into that low crescent. Feel that lengthening through the sides of your waist. Beautiful work. Nice, Pamela. And then we find our twist on this side. So palms plant, maybe take your right hand on a block. Just make sure that your shoulder's over your wrist. Curl those right toes under. Firm there. Think twisting from that lowermost right rib. Trying to turn it up towards the ceiling. Gaze can just be soft and gentle out in front of you. You might start to bring your gaze up to that top thumb. Couple more breaths here. Fire up that back leg. Really feel that thigh press up towards the ceiling. Good. As you exhale, start to unwind. Keep your hips this slow. Step back to your plank pose. Take an inhale. As you exhale, shift forward on your toes. Maybe come to knees, lower halfway, hover, or all the way down. Inhale, low cobra, or upward facing dog. As you exhale, pull back, downward facing dog. Take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Use that exhaling through the mouth to help cool the body down. You can do that a couple more times if you need to. And start to just find a few breaths here of stillness, kind of checking in, making any tiny little adjustments that you need to in your pose, but then just being. From your downward dog, as you inhale, find a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes, peek where you're going. End of your exhale, you can step right, then left, you can walk forward, or you can hop through. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. As you inhale, knees bend, arms reach up, Utkatasana, chair pose. And then we keep bending our knees a little deeper, a little deeper. Try not to plop down. If you plop down, it's okay. The world's not going to end. So little core work here. So we're going to find our Navasana. So you're kind of sitting middle towards the back of your sit bones. What tends to happen here is we round in a lot. So you want to keep your spine nice and long. Think cobra in your upper body. So let's go ahead and bring our hands underneath our thighs. Lift one leg, then the other. So you might just stay here like this, using your hands underneath your thighs. Maybe you stretch your arms forward. Couple of us might take legs straight. It's a lot of hip flexor work. See how I'm starting to round? I'm going to just choose to bend the knees. So deep inhale here. As you exhale, lower, shoulders keep lifting, legs lift, Ardha Navasana. Inhale, back up. Good, exhale, lower. Couple more. Inhale up. Exhale, lower. Inhale up. Good, exhale, lower. Hold here, gaze forward, spread your toes, smile. And then we're gonna hug the knees into our chests. We're gonna rock a little bit from side to side. And then we're gonna play with rocking forward and back. So we're gonna get a little momentum. We're gonna try to roll up to our chair pose. It may or may not happen. You can press into your hands. You can use furniture around you. Just laugh if it doesn't go well. It's only yoga. It's no big deal. All right. So deep inhale here in your chair pose. Exhale, wrists come perpendicular to the shoulders. Inhale, nice and slow. Press the legs to straight. Direct your tailbone down. Exhale, bend your knees. Good. Inhale, press the legs to straight. As you exhale, lower in. Good. Inhale, press the legs to straight. One more. Exhale. Sink in. Keep the knees bent. Inhale, stretch your arms up. As you exhale, press your legs to straight. Hands come together at your heart. You close your eyes. You pause here. Maybe take a couple of exhales through the mouth. So feeling that heat, which feels good. You might feel your heart beating fast. Mine's going pretty good. And just use your breath to help slow everything down. And then let's just move into a round of our Surya Namaskar A. We're going to remember just how easy this feels after doing all of that extra stuff in it. So you're at the top of the mat, feet hips distance apart, arms by your side. As you inhale, arms reach out and up. As you exhale, you hinge forward, fold in. Let the back of your neck lengthen and release. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. From here, bend your knees, plant your palms, step your left foot back, then your right foot. See if you can stretch out this exhale as you shift forward. Lower halfway hover or all the way down. Shoulder heads keep lifting wherever you're at. Inhale into your back bend. As you exhale, pull back, downward facing dog, tiny little adjustments, and then you find this place of stillness. Feel your ears line up with your biceps. Feel that bicep wrap towards the tricep. So inner arm towards outer arm. Notice that widening across the backs of the shoulders that happens. And then see if you can stretch those sit bones up towards the ceiling a little more. As you inhale, a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. End of your exhale, walk forward, step left and right, lightly spring through. If you're doing that, try to keep your arms nice and straight. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold in. Good, inhale, press into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. One more. Inhale, arms reach. As you exhale, fold in, lengthen. Release the back of your neck. Inhale, chest extends. Gaze stays forward, bend knees, plant palms, right foot back, then left. On your exhale, move through your Chaturanga Vinyasa. Don't forget to pause at halfway. Inhale. As you exhale, downward facing dog. Good. So from here, let's inhale, lift our right leg up, hips stay even. As you exhale, step that foot through. So feet are hips distance apart. We're going to inhale, rise up into our crescent pose. And then we're going to move into our Virabhadrasana 2. So heel toe your right foot to the left twice. Spin into the back edge of that left foot. Good. Go ahead and release arms. So you've got a nice deep bend. It feels like that right knee is pressing behind you as you seal into the back edge of your left foot. And let's get into the legs a little bit here. So think isometric stretch, outer edges of the feet squeeze in towards each other. Inhale. Bring that front leg to straight. Arms reach up overhead. Exhale in. Good. Inhale. Straightening up. Good. Exhale. Come back in. Good, one more, inhale up. Exhale, come on in. And then flip your right palm to face up towards the ceiling. As you inhale, find your reverse warrior. Spin those left ribs up towards the ceiling. And then press to the inner edge of that right foot as you inhale. Straighten that front leg, it might not get all the way there. Exhale, sink in. Good, inhale. Press that front leg to straight. Exhale, bend the knee. Good. Inhale, press to straight. Exhale, bend the knee. Good. And then let's come into our Parshva Konasana, so extended side angle pose. So forearm on your thigh or fingertips on a block behind the foot, top arm up and over. Spinning those right ribs up. Pressing vigorously into the back edge of your foot. Good, one more deep inhale, open up a little more. As you exhale, you're gonna unwind here, and this might be where you wanna have 2 blocks at the top of your mat, and if you don't have them, you're just gonna make do. So spin onto those left toes, And we're gonna start to lift that left leg up. So we're kind of coming into like a little modified warrior 3, and we're gonna get into the core a little more here. So gaze slightly forward. You can bring your blocks forward so they're under the shoulders. Deep inhale here. Exhale, curl your left knee into your nose. Inhale, stretch back. Exhale, curl in, knee to nose. Good, inhale, stretch back. Good, exhale, curl in. Inhale, stretch back. 2 more. Exhale, curl in. Inhale, stretch back. Exhale, curl in nice and tight here. Inhale, reach back. Start to bend your right knee a lot. Lightly press those left toes down. Inhale, rise up, crescent pose. As we exhale, hands come down to the mat. Your choice here. So we're pretty warm. Maybe that means you simply step back to your downward facing dog. If you're enjoying the heat, if you want to take a chaturanga vinyasa, you're more than welcome to. Always remembering that sometimes less is more. Good, and as you pull back to your downward facing dog, take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. As we inhale, that left leg lifts. Exhale, step your foot through. Make sure you're not on a tightrope. So we inhale, rise up into our crescent pose. And then we start to shift, heel toe that left foot to the right twice. Open up into that back leg. Arms extend out wide. Your torso is facing towards the long edge of the mat. So make sure you're not leaning either direction here. You're nice and upright. Press to the inner edge of that left foot a lot. So feel this big hip opening start to happen. As we inhale, press to that inner foot, straighten the leg, arms reach up overhead. Good, exhale in. Inhale up, don't forget about that back leg. Keep it really active. Keep sealing into the back edge of that foot. Couple more here. One more. Good, so exhaling into your Virabhadrasana 2. Flip the left palm to face up. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And then the same thing, we're gonna just start to straighten that left leg. So inhale, firm the muscles above the knee, find your reverse triangle. Exhale, sink in nice and deep. Inhale, press that leg to straight. So this nice lateral stretch. Exhale, sink in. Couple more. Inhale up here. As you exhale, sink in. Inhale, reverse triangle. Exhale into your reverse warrior. Take a nice deep inhale, spin those right ribs up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, start to hinge forward. Find your Parsvakonasana. So forearm could be on that thigh. You might have fingertips on a block behind you. If you're there, you can really press this left knee into your upper left arm. Few breaths, fire up that back leg, really seal into the back edge of that foot. Good, and then we start to unwind here. So spin onto those right toes. Find your blocks. Shift the weight forward into that left foot. So reach the right leg back. It's like a warrior 3 leg. Nice deep inhale. You can think a little cow stretch in the upper body. Exhale, round in, find a little cat stretch. Inhale, lengthen back. Exhale, round in, knee to nose. Good, inhale, stretch back. Good, curl in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, curl. One more, inhale, stretch back. Exhale, curl in. Good, and then reach back, start to bend that left knee nice and light. Touch that right foot down, inhale, rise up into your crescent pose. As you exhale, hands come down to the mat. Again, options, you step back to your downward facing dog, or you take a chaturanga vinyasa. Once you make it back to your downward facing dog, you go ahead and lower to your knees, and we take a little break here in our child's pose. You might want to take a couple of exhales through the mouth just to help cool things down. And then think back to the beginning of the class we started in our child's pose. How are you feeling differently? The hips opening? Does it feel like there's a little more lengthening and space in your spine? So just noticing. It's always pretty amazing. It just takes a little bit of movement to really shift how we're feeling, not only physically, but even mentally. And then let's find a little twist here. So start to walk your arms off to the right. Can lay your left ear on that left inner arm. And start to walk back to center and then off to the left. So just finding this little twist in your child's pose. Good, walk back to center. Reach your arms so far forward that as you start to spread your fingers and press evenly, your forearms lift up off the mat. So you've got lots of space here. You're finding your downward facing dog arms. From there, rock on up. If you need a little more space, walk your hands further forward. So we want the shoulders behind the wrists. Curl your toes under, downward dog. And then as we inhale, find a little bend in the knees, come to the tippy toes, peek where you're going. And at the exhale, step right then left, walk forward or lightly hop through. Inhale, chest lengthens. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, knees bend, arms reach up, Utkatasana, chair pose. And then again, nice and slow, start to sink deeper and deeper and deeper. Come on down, and then we're gonna roll onto our backs. All right, so we're gonna extend our legs up towards the ceiling. So a couple of options here. If there's tenderness in your lower back, you're gonna take your hands underneath those hip plates. Otherwise, arms can be by your side. If you're wanting a little more exertion here, you're gonna reach your arms up overhead so palms face towards each other. Take a nice deep inhale. As you exhale, nice and slow, keep the leg really active. You can kind of Barbie the feet so they're pointing and flexing. As you exhale, lower that right leg down until it almost touches. Inhale, left, lift up. Good, exhale, lower left. Inhale up. So continuing like that, find a pace in your body that feels really good. Modify if you need to. And it takes a little bit of time here sometimes to start feeling this. If you're tighter in your hip flexors, you're gonna be feeling it on the top of the leg, the top of the hips already. If you're like, yeah, this just isn't doing anything for me, maybe you start to lower both legs with lots of control at the same time, and then you should start to feel that pretty deep in the belly. Take little breaks if you need to. Hug your knees into your chest. This is a good thing about not having cameras on. All right, so if you're doing one leg at a time, do 2 more to each side. So you'll finish up lowering and lifting that left leg. If you're doing both legs, you're doing 3 or 4 more here. Let's all meet back in this L shape. So legs reaching up towards the ceiling. Okay, so we're all gonna start to lower our right leg. Reach your arms forward, start to curl your shoulders up overhead, and then let's just take our fingers, interlacing them to the outside of that right thigh. Curling up here, legs really active. Good. Arms come back to center. Switch the legs. Oh, we're feeling it now. Take a little break if you need to. Twist to the outside of that left leg. See if you can get that left shoulder blade up off the mat. Feel that left hip drive forward, right hip comes on back. Good. Release the hands, stretch forward. Lift that right leg to meet the left. Hug knees in. And then let's just release that with a little tabletop. So rock up to seated. You're gonna reach your hands back. So fingertips are facing forward. Feet hips distance apart. It's like a bridge pose. And then press into your feet. Start to lift your hip bones up towards the ceiling. So it's like a little reverse tabletop here. You can simply gaze forward up. If it feels okay in your neck, you start to release back. So looking behind you. And this is an intense stretch in the wrists and the shoulders. It feels pretty nice. One more deep inhale. Good, exhale, release down. We're gonna do one more, so just take a little breather here. All right, here we go. So as we inhale, start to direct tailbone forward, lift up, feel that stretch in your shoulders and chest. And again, you can be looking forward, up at the ceiling, maybe release your head back if that stretch feels okay. As you exhale, start to release down. And then again, let's start to roll forward and back. So another opportunity to practice sticking your Utkatasana, or simply sticking your tongue out at me, rolling to one side or the other, and just coming into your chair pose. That works too. All right, as we inhale, we press our legs to straight. Hands come together at our heart. Close your eyes, take a couple of breaths here. Let everything slow down, check in, notice how you're feeling. Good, and then you're gonna gently blink your eyes open. And we're gonna come into our triangle pose. So if you have a block handy, just place it behind your right foot as you step wide here. So edges of the feet parallel with the edges of the mat. From deep within this right hip socket, we're gonna turn that leg out to 90 degrees. Left toes turn in, so this left hip is releasing down, whereas we're opening up this right hip. So kind of the same configuration that we have for our warrior two legs, except for that the legs stay straight here. So really start to engage the muscles above your knees. As you inhale, stretch your arms up. And actually, let's flip our right palm to face up. As you exhale, find that reverse triangle. We've been here before, we're just approaching it a little different. So notice how long you are on this right side. Can you keep all that length as you start to shift your hips off to the left? Reaching out. If you don't have a block, your hand can come to your thigh, your shin. If you do have the block, just set up so that that shoulder is over your wrist. Then top arm reaches up. Feel the inseam of this right leg press towards that right thigh. Keep stretching through both sides of your body. It's like your little parallelogram here. Notice if you're rolling to the outer edge of that right foot, press into the mound of the big toe, the inner heel. And then let's start to spin our palm to face behind us. Bend your elbow so you can take your hand, press it into your back. You might be able to get fingertips to your inner thigh. Wherever you're at, you're trying to open up this shoulder a little bit. Keep sealing into the back edge of that left foot. If you want a little more work here, start to stretch your right fingertips forward. So kind of getting into those obliques, those side waist muscles. It intensifies the stretch that you're feeling on the inseam of this right leg. One more deep inhale. Exhale, release down, stretch up. Start to bend your right knee a lot. Walk your block forward about a foot. And then shift the weight into that front foot. You can keep that knee bent. Start to lift that left leg. It's really active. It's as though you're standing on it. And then find that place where your shoulders are stacking on top of each other. Stay here. If you would like to bend, That top leg, see if you can find the foot. If you've got the foot, you can kick that foot into your hand. And then if you want to play with a little more balance here, you can probably have to I have to look at it in a diagonal almost. And then maybe you can lift those right fingertips up for a breath or two. If you fall out, no big deal. Okay, so if you're in your Shavasana, go ahead and release, stretch out. Let's find, do better than I did. Let's find our triangle pose. So transition back. Happens to the best of us. As you exhale, look down at your right toes. Nice work. As you inhale, rise on up. You can grab your block, parallel your feet, and then move your block to the outside of your left foot. Let's just take a little intermission before we do that second side. So interlacing your fingers behind you. As you inhale, heart reaches. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. So kind of just stretching the shoulders out here. You can extend your wrists forward any amount. Notice if you're gripping the neck. Try to let it release and go. Just imagine that there's a weight attached to your head, pulling you closer to the earth. Listen to that rhythm of your breath. Find it if you've lost it. Good, pressing into your feet as you inhale, lead with your heart, come on up. Release your hands from deep within this left hip socket, turn that leg out to 90, right toes turn in. We're heel to arch, big hip opening happening in this left thigh. Torso just facing forward. So inhale, arms reach. Good, as we exhale, we find that reverse warrior. So really key into all of this length that you're getting through that left side. We want to hold on to that as we start to press to the inner edge of the left foot and exhale, transition into our triangle pose. Keep this feeling of left ribs rolling up, left hand on thigh, shin, or block. This side might feel a little different. So take the block higher if you need to, take it lower if you need to. Feel those shoulder blades stack. Feel that lengthening through the sides of your body. Feel that breath smooth and steady. And then go ahead and spin your right palm to face behind you. Bend the elbow. It's just finding a little leverage so you can open up that right shoulder. So pressing the back of the hand into your back. Maybe you can get your fingertips to the lower left waist or thigh. And then if you'd like a little core here, also an intense little kind of groin stretch, go ahead and reach your left fingertips up off the mat. Notice if you start to clench your face and jaw, soften there. Good. Go ahead and release down. Extend that top arm up and we transition into our Ardha Chandrasana. So start to bend that left knee, walk your block forward, start to shift the weight into that front foot. You can keep a little bend in that knee, really lift from the inseam of this right leg. It's super active and strong. You can just stay here like this for a few breaths if you want to play with your Shavasana. Bend the knee, find the foot, kick the foot into your hand, lengthen out. Good, and then again, if you want to just challenge your balance a little more here, maybe start to extend those left fingertips forward again. Keep smiling, laugh if you fall, it's no big deal. And then let that go. Transition back in to your triangle pose. Press into your feet as you inhale. Rise on up, parallel your feet. Hands come to your hips, elbows squeeze in. Inhale, heart lifts. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. So a couple of options. You can just bring your hands down to the floor. You can hook your big toes with your middle and index finger. If you're doing that, you're gonna inhale to halfway, so lengthen, and then exhale, start to pull up on your toes. So it's almost like you're doing wide this wide angle chaturanga arms. So you pull up on your toes, you let your head release down towards the mat. Feel the outer edges of your feet squeeze in, feel the outer edges of your hips squeeze in towards each other, towards the midline. Good. As you inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, hands come to your hips. Inhale, press into your feet. Rise up to standing. Step your feet together. Then we're going to come onto our back. So just moving into our bridge pose. Few rounds of that. So go ahead and lay down. Set up with your arms by your side, ankles underneath your knees, edges of the feet parallel with the edges of the mat. Take a nice deep inhale here. Notice how there's this natural curve in your lower back. And then as we exhale, I want you to start to direct your tailbone forward so you lose that curve, press into your feet, start to lift your hips up off the mat. From here, you can grab the outer edges of your mat, start to walk your hands closer to your heels, snuggle your shoulders underneath you. You're also welcome to interlace fingers underneath you, do the same thing. With each inhale, feel that expansion of your chest. It feels as though your chest is lifting towards your chin. You want the back of the neck really nice and long. Observe if you start to roll to the outer edges of your feet. It's common in this pose. A lot of times the toes start to turn out. There's a big knee stretch that can happen here for many of us, quadricep, also hamstring. So little of that is normal. If it's really intense, just back out a little bit. Lift your hips less high. Good. One more deep inhale. As you exhale, release what you're holding on to, lower down. Take a couple of breaths here. And then we're going to come up again. So as you inhale, press into your feet. Start to lift hips up, direct your tailbone forward. You can especially feel that on the exhale. And then you can interlace fingers underneath you. You can hold the edges of the mat. You can just have your arms by your side. You could do robot arms here. So whatever helps you to feel steady in this pose. Keep rooting down into that right foot. Start to bend your left knee into your chest and then extend that foot up. And then you can just bring your hands to your hips. Make sure that they're nice and even. Breath smooth and steady. Good. As you exhale, bend that right knee. Inhale, even out here. So feel that. And then on your next inhale, bend your left knee in. Extend that foot up towards the ceiling. Ekapada, Setu Bandha, Sarvangasana. There will not be a test on that. Basically, that's a very complicated way of saying one-legged bridge. One more deep inhale. Exhale, release that leg down. Inhale, lift the hips a little higher. And then as you exhale, slowly roll down. So nice and easy. Let's find a little happy baby here, which is going to feel really good. It's going to release the lower back. So depending upon how tight you are, you're either grabbing the outer edges of your legs, pulling down. You might be able to grab the outer edges of your feet. So elbows kind of come into the inside of your shins. It might even feel good in your body to rock back and forth a little bit here. Good. And then just give the knees a squeeze in and let's rock up to seated. And we're going to come into a hip stretch here. So I'll give you a couple of options. You can either do your Sukhasana or double pigeon. So crossing your right shin in front of your left shin, maybe stacking shins on top of each other. If you really love single pigeon and you practice that regularly and you want to come into that, you're welcome to do that as well. In In this double pigeon, you're hinging forward, folding in. If the hips are really tight today and this isn't working for you, the final variation would be to just stay on your back and come into your reclining pigeon. So crossing right ankle above the left knee, flexing the foot. Right hand can press into this thigh. And if you feel like you need a little more here, start to bend left knee in towards your chest, interlacing fingers around the shin or thigh. So wherever you're at, trying to find that stretch in that outer right hip. If you are in your single pigeon or your double pigeon and you're close to the floor, you could make fists with your hands. Just rest your forehead there. You could use a block underneath your forehead. So if you're seated, you want to really feel that rooting sensation down into your sit bones. You could just kind of imagine that somebody's just gently applying a little pressure to those hip plates. And if you're in your single pigeon, you're trying to keep both hip bones facing even. So oftentimes it feels like we almost have to twist a little bit to get that sensation. Sometimes you need a prop. In this case, it would be underneath that right buttocks, that right hip, just to help you even things out. And then finally, check in with your breath again here. So probably of its own accord, it started to slow down a little bit. It's shifting. A few more good breaths here. Good, nice and easy. Whatever version you're in, you start to make your way out. If you're in the single pigeon, it feels nice sometimes to pull back to three-legged dog. So just switching sides. The side might feel a lot different. I didn't mention it on the other side, but you all know I'm a fan of sitting up on blankets, especially if you're tighter in the spine. So that just takes a little of the pressure, the work out of really tight hips. And then you melt in here again, following that sound, that rhythm of your breath, sending the exhale to the places where there's some intensity of feeling in the musculature. A few more good breaths. As you inhale, you start to make your way out here. We're all gonna meet back on our backs. When you get there, you're gonna hug your knees into your chest. And then we're just gonna find a nice little twist here before we move into our Shavasana. So again, a couple of options. You might wanna take a block between your knees so you can keep the knees really stacking on top of each other. You can cross that right thigh over left, scoot your hips to the left, and then let your knees fall to the left. So whatever version of this reclining twist that you like. Maybe you start to roll to the opposite cheek and just stretching into the side of the neck a little bit. Wherever you're at, feel your shoulder blades really heavy. If one is lifted up quite a bit, give it a little support. So slide a blanket or a block underneath there, or maybe lift your legs up a little bit. Good. Start to come on up to center. So readjust, recross the legs. If you did that, shift the hips off to one side and then let the knees fall to the opposite side, whatever that looks like in your body. Good. Come on up to center. And give yourself a squeeze. Eventually making your way into your final resting pose. So find a comfortable Shavasana for you. Maybe that means there's a blanket underneath your knees, or knees are bent, knocking in towards each other, feet wide on your mat. Really give yourself permission to soak up these final quiet moments. We worked really hard, now we rest really hard, kind of setting ourselves up for the rest of the day ahead. Shavasana. Good. Let your next inhale be deeper. Open the mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. And start to wiggle fingers and toes, bring some gentle movement back to your body, stretch out. And then staying soft and quiet, just roll to one side or the other, find the fetal position. Use your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. And just check in, notice how you feel. So what's shifted for you this past hour? Send yourself love and gratitude for showing up and working hard. Promise yourself that you're going to carry a little of this feeling with you into the rest of the day, the rest of the week ahead. Bring your palms together at your heart. Just bow your head with a smile. Really beautiful work today. Thank you. Good to see everybody. Namaste.